Hello, welcome to the great program of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC today. Thank you for joining again. Ladies and gentlemen, on a sad note, what happened just this morning, this is Thursday afternoon, but just this morning with the U.S. Supreme Court, 6-3, I tell you, America should be ashamed of itself. This type of behavior, when they gutted the affirmative action in terms of admission to predominantly white colleges and universities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an abomination upon a country that has the emblem of "In God we trust." In God we trust. I just don't get it. But I do get it because there are so many negative and ill feelings going around, not only in today's politics or today's society, it's never been eradicated. That's why redundantly, I always say that repetition is the mother of skill. Keep telling you repetitiously that we are in trouble, that we must understand. Even back, I think the year was 1896, Pleasant versus Ferguson. That was the U.S. Supreme Court. We're not putting no trust or faith in no government. Our trust is in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And that's what really counts. That's all that matters, that you know God will prevail. We have to do our job. And you're talking about affirmative action? The Caucasian race or the white race has always had affirmative action. What you mean, Steele, when you didn't admit us to predominantly white schools? that was affirmative action. What about the legacy admission, where you don't have to qualify to get in a particular school of standards in regards to the traditional aspect of what we're talking about? The legacy admission, sometimes they call it legacy scholarship. If your mother, your auntie, your grandmother, your in-laws, your friend, your next door neighbor, if they went to Harvard University or if they went to University of North Carolina or any other predominant school, but we're talking about those two institutions because that's where the attention was drawn from, the University of North Carolina and Harvard University. We must understand that when we own in this country 1% of the wealth, watch me now, I'm being redundant again, when we own just 1% of the wealth, I'm talking facts, and the Caucasian race owns 99% of all the wealth in this country. 99%. How in the world can we say we have equality? And I heard the presidential candidate who was formerly vice president, won't call his name, who was formerly the vice president just a couple years ago, when he makes the statement and says, 50 years ago we have overcome. You know, we don't have no more discrimination, in other words. You know, we're post racist. It's no longer exists. When just not long ago, the Attorney General of the United States of America, Attorney General Merrick Garland, this is what he said: the biggest threat to America in terms of the terrorist potential or act of terrorizing this country is white supremacy. It's a terrorist attack upon African Americans. And I can't say people of color because it was an Asian person who said that black folks getting further preferential treatment than Asian Americans. Have you ever heard of such? I don't even want to get into that. But you can't any longer say people of color because it was a person of color that was involved in this lawsuit. So all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that buckle up, but also remember, redundantly, I must warn you and repeat to you, silence in the face of evil is evil itself. We're too silent. I don't care how many multi-millions of athletes making money, signing big contracts, the people in the entertainment field, I won't call any names. I don't care how much money they are making. We as African Americans only have and control 1% of the wealth. 1% of the wealth in this country. Oh, this is all about money, y'all. Gutting affirmative action into the admission of colleges, and it's going to have a rippling effect. The ramifications are going to affect corporate America. It's going to affect daily lives. It's going to affect the employment and enrollment to try, as they say, to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We don't have any boots, let alone the straps. But the point being is that how can you pull yourself up by your bootstraps when in 1862, watch me now, the Homestead Act gave many of acreage of land to persons who was of the Caucasian race, of the white race. Nobody black could qualify for the land. And guess what? You saying it doesn't matter now? I wasn't born back then. That was not me. But you received the benefits. From generation after generation, it was passed on. And you received the benefits. That's why, economically, we must have access to capital. And I close with this. When you bail out the banks with $750 billion, the question should be asked, what about the accessibility to African Americans having access to capital? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, because love is what love does, and I love you.